Have you ever sat in a quiet room late at night, maybe with a single lamp casting a soft glow, and felt an ache you couldn't quite put into words? You're not necessarily lonely. You might have children who call, neighbors who wave when you take out the trash, or friends who check in on you from time to time. And still, deep inside, something feels missing. For so many of us in our later years, especially after losing a spouse, that missing piece is intimacy. Not just the physical kind, though that matters too, but the closeness, the comfort, the knowing presence of someone beside you. The kind of connection where you don't need to explain yourself because the other person already knows. When a partner dies, it can feel as though that entire part of life has been sealed away permanently. That no matter what you do, you'll never feel that kind of closeness again. But here's the truth. Intimacy doesn't have to vanish with loss. It shifts. It takes on new shapes, sometimes quieter, sometimes gentler, sometimes more surprising than you imagined. That's what I want to share with you today. Some reflections on intimacy after loss. It's a tender subject, but one worth exploring. Because if you've ever felt that quiet ache in the night, you're not broken, you're not finished, and you're not too old to want or deserve closeness. You are still a whole, living, loving human being. Before we dive in, if you find comfort in honest conversations like this, hit subscribe. We share stories that don't just pass time, they help make sense of it. After my wife passed, mornings were the hardest. I'd walk into the kitchen, and the air felt heavier somehow. Her chair at the table sat empty, the tea kettle silent. The rhythm of our mornings, the gentle clinking of cups, the way she hummed while slicing fruit, was gone. I still had things to do, bills to pay, a garden to water, repairs around the house that couldn't wait. On the outside, life carried on, but inside, a fog had settled in. Friends would tell me, "Sam, you're doing so well. You're strong," and I appreciated their kindness. But what they didn't talk about was the ache that had nothing to do with errands or chores. It was the absence of intimacy. The hand that once reached for mine without asking, the late-night conversations in bed, the way her presence filled the room even when she said nothing at all. That's the ache nobody warns you about. And if you feel it, you're not alone. It's natural to think intimacy ends when your partner dies. After all, you may have spent decades together, sharing birthdays, moving through hardships, raising children, building a life full of routines and inside jokes. They were the one who knew the way you liked your coffee, who could tell by your silence whether you were worried, who showed up beside you in hospital waiting rooms and family celebrations alike. When that person is gone, it can feel as though the capacity for deep connection disappeared with them. But intimacy doesn't belong to just one relationship. It evolves. Think of it as a flame. Your spouse may have been the one who lit it, tending it through the years. When they're gone, the flame doesn't vanish. It still burns in you, and it can glow again through friendships, family, community, or even the relationship you build with yourself. That intimacy won't feel identical to what you had before, and it's not meant to. It may be slower, gentler, less about passion and more about presence. But different does not mean lesser. It is still intimacy, still connection, still human warmth. What surprised me most in grief wasn't just sadness, it was guilt. The guilt of laughing at a friend's joke, the guilt of enjoying a meal with company, the guilt of even thinking about what closeness might feel like again. Our culture has a way of whispering rules about grief, As if to prove your love, you must remain sorrowful forever. As if smiling again, or letting someone hold your hand, somehow erases the years you spent together. But grief doesn't follow rules. It doesn't move in straight lines. Some days you may feel steady. Other days, sorrow may wash over you. And sometimes, your heart may long for touch, for companionship, for a presence beside you. That longing doesn't erase your love for the one who's gone. It proves you're still alive. If the roles were reversed, wouldn't you want the person you loved to find comfort again, to keep laughing, to keep sharing warmth, to keep living fully? Giving yourself permission to keep living isn't a betrayal, it's an act of courage. It honors the love you shared by carrying forward the part of you that still longs for connection. Let's speak plainly. Physical intimacy changes as we age. Bodies shift. Energy isn't what it used to be. Medications and aches affect what feels possible. But intimacy doesn't disappear with age. It transforms. Instead of being about urgency or performance, it becomes about presence. Holding hands while sitting on the porch. Resting side by side while listening to a favorite song. Sharing a slow dance in the kitchen while dinner simmers on the stove. These small gestures can hold more emotional weight than anything else. They're not about proving youth, they're about proving presence. For many, touch after loss feels unfamiliar. Maybe it's been years since you were embraced in a way that felt tender. That's okay. Take your time. Even placing your own hand on your chest and breathing deeply can be a gentle reminder that you're still here, still deserving of comfort. Intimacy now is not about trying to relive your 40s. It's about honoring your body as it is today and discovering new ways to connect with another soul, or even with yourself. Often, what people miss most after loss isn't romance. It's companionship. The sound of someone moving around the house. The simple call of a familiar voice from another room. The morning rituals, 2 cups of coffee, shared newspaper sections, a chuckle at an old memory. When those vanish, their absence can echo like an empty hall. But companionship doesn't die with loss. It can be reborn in different forms. It might show up in a weekly card game with friends, in an evening phone call that turns into laughter, in the loyal gaze of a dog who curls beside you at night. Sometimes companionship grows from the unlikeliest places. A neighbor who checks in, a community group, or a friendship that quietly deepens over time. These are not second-rate forms of intimacy. They are essential. They remind us that we belong, that our lives still touch others. There's another kind of intimacy we don't often speak about. Intimacy with yourself. After decades of pouring energy into a partner, turning inward can feel foreign, but it can also be one of the most healing steps you take. Ask yourself gently, what makes me feel cared for? What rituals remind me I matter? For some, it might be lighting a candle in the evening and sitting quietly with a book. For others, it might be taking a walk in the park just to notice the trees, or cooking a favorite meal and plating it nicely. Not for anyone else, but as an act of respect toward yourself. Self-intimacy can be as simple as speaking kindly to your reflection in the mirror instead of criticizing. It can be journaling, dressing in clothes that make you feel alive, or giving yourself permission to grieve without apology. These small acts carry a powerful message. I see myself. I care for myself. I am still here. So today, we've walked gently through the subject of intimacy after loss. We've seen that intimacy doesn't end with your partner. It evolves into new shapes. That guilt may arrive, but it doesn't have to anchor you. That physical closeness may change, but tenderness is still possible and deeply meaningful. That companionship, even without romance, can be intimacy of the most profound kind. And that rediscovering intimacy with yourself can be one of the greatest acts of healing. If your heart is aching tonight, please know this: you are not too old for love. You are not too late for connection, and you are not alone in your longing. Intimacy isn't about replacing what was lost. It's about carrying forward the warmth that still lives in you and allowing it to find expression in new ways. Maybe that's through a friendship that grows deeper. Maybe it's through the quiet loyalty of a pet. Maybe it's through rituals of kindness you give yourself. Whatever form it takes, it's still intimacy. It's still love. And you still deserve it. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this message resonated, I'd love for you to share your thoughts in the comments. What's one way you've experienced intimacy lately, even in a surprising form? And if you found comfort here, I invite you to like this video and subscribe, so together we can keep building a space of wisdom, healing, and honesty. Until next time, be gentle with yourself, be open to connection, and remember, you are worthy of closeness in all its forms for as long as you live.